Hello, this is Yvonne Bunn with Home Educators Association of Virginia, and we're going to be talking about what's been happening in the General Assembly. So we're calling this a legislative update. This is the time of the year when legislation has to complete one full House, either the House or the Senate, one full chamber, the House or the Senate, and be voted on, and then it goes to the other chamber, the other House or Senate, and has the same legislation has to be voted on over there. And so this is called crossover. And yesterday was crossover day, meaning all the bills that were introduced in the House had to be voted on, and now they've gone over to the Senate for the Senate to go through the same process of voting on those same House bills. Because the bills have to pass both the House and the Senate before they then go to the governor, and the governor signs them. And of course, the governor can veto a bill also. So we always watch for that. We never know what the governor is actually going to do about certain bills. And so this has been a very, very busy session because it's the short session. The short session will be over by the end of February instead of going into March the way it did last year. So we've been looking at lots and lots of bills, monitoring over 3,000 laws that are proposed laws that will change the way things happen in the state of Virginia, and some of them will affect homeschoolers. That's why it's important for HEAV to be at the General Assembly and to build good relationships with our legislators and let you know what's going on in case we need to have you call or send an email in order to support a bill. Sometimes bills are just simple changes and they don't require extensive activity. In fact, sometimes it's better not to draw attention to simple bills and just let them go ahead and be debated, and they're usually not opposed in committee, and so when that happens they can just sail right through. And so we're happy to report that some of the bills are doing just that. We've been concerned, though, about several bills, numerous bills that we have seen regarding the development of charter schools, but particularly virtual schools. And we know we already have Virginia virtual schools in the state of Virginia, but we're seeing legislation that is expanding virtual schools. There's legislation out there, HB 1400, that actually establishes a school board for virtual schools, and this school board is under the Secretary of Education, and the Secretary of Education will appoint many of the members of this school board. So we know if they're developing a school board, they're going to be developing more virtual school opportunities for public school students. And this concerns us because it can be very, very confusing for homeschoolers, for parents who want to homeschool. Virtual schools are paid by tax funds, so they're free to parents. However, they're not free because you have none of the freedoms in a virtual school that you have in a homeschool that's under the homeschool statute of Virginia. You're not able to choose the curriculum that you want to use. You must use public school curricula. And you're also bound to the SOLs, which means you need to teach to the SOLs just like public school teachers do. So you don't have that freedom. And of course, you don't have the freedom to either teach your children concerning religious values that go along with all types of the things that they'll be studying. So it's not really free, and we need to be very cautious and let other homeschoolers know not to give up your homeschool freedoms because you can have a free virtual school. That is not really the freedom that homeschoolers can experience and have such great success with. So we are concerned about those types of bills that we're seeing more and more, and several of them have passed during crossover, and so now they're in the opposite chamber to be voted on. We have legislation that we have introduced this year. It's the AP and PSAT notification bill, and this bill has been introduced on both the House and the Senate side. Homeschool Legal Defense as well as Home Educators Association of Virginia went together and approached Delegate Brenda Pogge from James City County, and also on the Senate side we asked Senator Newman if he would sponsor the bill also, and he did. So we've introduced it on both sides. And this is simply a bill that clarifies the language. It's always been very confusing about the PSAT test. And so it clarifies the language in that test. It also adds that school boards need to establish a definite time when homeschoolers or anyone can finally do their registration for the PSAT. Because in order to take the PSAT test, homeschoolers have to go through the public school. Well, public schools order the test on their own schedule. There's no set time that they have to be ordered. You may want to take the test, which is only given one time a year in October of every school year, and you may want to sign up for it in October and call in August to find out that they ordered it in July. Or you call in July and they ordered it in June. So there's no set time within the school district. Every school can order it whenever they want to order it. So we've asked that the school board set a definite cutoff date for registering for the PSAT test so that homeschoolers will know about it. And we also are asking that they notify homeschoolers. And that would be very easy for them to do in a response letter to the notice of intent that you send in. And they can just put down the test date for their school district. So it's been very simple. This legislation has not been controversial at all, and it's passed the House in a block vote of 95-0. It passed the Senate 40-0. So not a lot of discussion about it. It seems to be a very simple housekeeping bill, but it really will help homeschoolers and help those, particularly at the high school level, because you can use that PSAT as well as the SAT or ACT scores instead of providing a standardized achievement test score for your high schoolers. So I think we're going to see more and more homeschoolers taking advantage of the PSAT and the SAT and ACT at the end of the year for testing also. So we're hoping this is going to make it a little easier for you to do that. We have several other bills, too, that Delegate Rob Bell from Charlottesville has introduced. He's introduced his sports access, known as the Tebow bill, again this year. It has passed the House, and now it's over on the Senate side. The Tebow bill, of course, will simply says that a high school cannot participate in any organization that doesn't allow qualified homeschoolers to participate in sports or interscholastic activities at their school. And so that's kind of a way around saying you can't compete with any other high schools if you don't let homeschoolers participate that are qualified to participate. And these students have to show evidence of progress for 2 consecutive years to show that their grades are what they're supposed to be. They also have to have all the required immunizations that other students do, and they have to comply in any other way other students do also, paying fees and such that cover the cost of the equipment and insurance and things like that. This bill expires July 1st in 2022. I think this was added to the bill in order for it to have kind of a sunset clause so that if this doesn't work, then the bill, it just goes away. So there will have to be other activity on this after 2022 in order for homeschoolers to continue doing this. So HEAV is neutral on sports access. It's not the purpose of our organization as a homeschool organization that provides resources and help for parents to encourage homeschoolers to go back to public school. However, we do support a parent's right to make that choice if they feel that it's the best thing for their family and will benefit their student. And so we remain neutral on this bill and we're watching it. It's already passed several times and it's been vetoed by our present governor. Now, whether or not he'll veto this bill again, we don't know until the time comes after the General Assembly session is over. By the middle of April, we should know whether or not he's going to veto this. So we'll keep watching that. We'll let you know about that. Delegate Bell has also introduced another bill that applies to homeschoolers. And this particular bill, HB 2007, was introduced and passed the House also. It didn't pass uncontested, though. The vote was 64 yes and 33 no. This is a bill that requires school boards to permit homeschool students to apply for enrollment in public school in order to take community college courses that are offered at the public school. Now, public school students receive these courses for little or no cost because they're the funds, tax funds that go to public schools pay for these courses. The funds actually go to the community college, and the community college then reimburses the school for some of their expenses out of this. And so students pay relatively little money, if anything at all, in order to take community college courses and get dual enrollment credits while they're still in high school. As you know, homeschoolers don't have the benefit of doing this. And when we take community college courses, we will typically take them at the community college instead of the high school, going to the high school. But this requires that homeschoolers who take courses, community college courses, at a public high school would have to be admitted. The school board would have to allow them to take those classes. Even if they do not allow part-time enrollment, they would have to allow them to take these community college courses at the local high school. HEAV is neutral on this bill also, again, for the same reason. We do not want to see homeschoolers going back to public high school and that environment to take courses. We would prefer to see legislation that would allow homeschoolers to have a break in tuition, or at least pay what public school students pay out of their pocket at a public school, but we would like to be able to take these courses on the community college campus the way we're doing it now. So we'd like to see a change in the funding matrix for this so that the funding can come some other way to cover these courses that homeschoolers are perfectly qualified to take at community college during their homeschool high school years. So we'll be working on that in the future. We've already begun this year, but we expect to be working on this again in the future. So we have other bills, parental choice savings accounts, ESAs. Delegate LaRock, HB 1605, again has introduced a bill that would allow qualified public school students to move state funds, state taxes that their schools receive. They could move this money into a savings account, and the parents can use this money for private school, sectarian or non-sectarian schools, or for preschools for their children. Students have to be qualified in order to take these funds and put them in an account for their parents to use. It's interesting that they can use it for tuition, they can use it for deposits, for fees, for textbook costs that they may use, for any type of educational, not any type, but many types of educational expenses that they would use. There was a similar bill to this, SB 1243, on the Senate side that Senator Donovan also introduced, and that particular bill failed. The vote was 20-20 in the Senate side, and the tie was broken and the bill failed. So interestingly enough, this is the second or third year, maybe even more, that this bill has been introduced. Educational Savings Account bill has been introduced. Last year it passed, and the governor vetoed it last year. This year we don't know if he'll veto this bill or not. The Educational Savings Account bill from LaRock has been amended while it was on the House side, and it was amended to limit the qualifications of the students to students who had actually failed the SOL test. Only those students who were enrolled in school would be qualified. The Senate version allowed only children with IEPs to be able to establish savings accounts and to move into use the funds for other types of education. So the Senate bill failed. The House bill is still alive, but we don't know what's going to happen with that, so we're watching that carefully too. There's also a bill there about colleges developing policies that will be posted on their website regarding granting credits for dual enrolled courses that high school students take when they are in their high school years, when they're taking community college dual enrollment courses. Evidently there are different colleges have different policies on accepting dual enrollment credits, and so this bill, HB 1662, requires colleges to establish policies on this and post it on the website so that before you go to apply to a Virginia state-supported college, you know whether or not they're going to be taking dual enrollment credits and giving you the same or similar recognition of the work that you have done. So that's something that we're watching. So far, that passed a block vote, 97-0. So that's likely to pass also. And then lastly, there's another bill that will affect homeschoolers because we've had several calls regarding this, and I've talked to numerous parents about this, and there's a bill regarding the American Sign Language. American Sign Language, according to this bill, HB 1512, and you may want to follow this, HB 1512 has been introduced by Delegate Richard Bell from Stanton, and this bill requires that public institutions of higher learning, meaning Virginia state-supported colleges, must accept credits for successful completion of American Sign Language courses taken in a secondary school, which would be high school, or an institute of higher education towards the satisfaction of foreign language entrance requirements or placement test or course credit requirements in order to be accepted into their college. And this will also satisfy any foreign language course credits that are required at the Institute of Higher Learning. So American Sign Language now will be accepted as a foreign language credit. And I know a lot of homeschoolers have accomplished this. They've taken these courses and they've learned American Sign Language. And now we see that this will be, if this bill continues to move forward, and it passed 98-0. So that's very promising that the same thing will happen on the Senate side, where we will see American Sign Language as recognized as a foreign language. And I think that's a good thing for many homeschoolers that know sign language. So all of these laws, after they finished covering in one side of the House, they're going to, or the chamber, they're going to go to the opposite. So now most of these are House bills that I've talked about because it just happens that many of these are started in the House side. All of these House bills are basically now on the Senate side, except for the one PSAT bill that started on the Senate side. It's now gone to the House. And so they've gone to the respective House. We'll know whether or not they're signed by the governor. None of these are law yet. They've only gone halfway, so none of them are laws. Once the governor signs them, they become law. And all of the new laws are enacted or go into effect July 1st of the year that they were passed. And so any of these bills that pass will become effective this July 1st, 2017. So that's an update on what's happened. It's very exciting. We appreciate you being aware of these bills, of being involved in the process. I know many of you have called, and many of you have mentioned these bills when we did Day at the Capitol, and we took a packet of information to our not only the legislators on the House, but also on the Senate side, and everyone received a packet of information with the bills and HEAV's position on the bills that we actually put in. And so we are very pleased. Once a bill has no votes against it, it's often voted on in a block in the next House. And so they don't even discuss the bills. They'll just maybe have 20, 30 bills that are uncontested bills in a list, and they say, would you like to vote for these bills? And they do, and so everything passes very easily and very quickly. And many of the bills I'm talking about today are in that type of situation where we're anticipating that they will pass. But we'll keep you posted, so watch our Facebook page. Be sure to read HEAV's legislative update that will be coming out, and you can go to our website and find more information. And of course, you can always call us if you have any questions or you want more information. You can always call us at the HEAV office, They'll put you right through, and I'd be happy to talk with you, answer any questions, or clarify any of your concerns about these bills and this potential legislation. And of course, you're always welcome to go to the General Assembly website and find the contact information for your delegate or senator and call them and tell them how you'd like for them to vote and why you support or why you oppose something. So I hope you'll be active and take that step in helping us not only to protect good homeschool legislation, but advance homeschooling also, so that it'll be easier for other parents to homeschool. So, any questions on any of the legislation? I'm going to scroll through here and just see if there is anything on here that that I can answer while I'm right here. And if there is not, I thank you for being here. And you can always email questions, and I'll certainly be checking the email, and I'll be glad to answer any of these questions that are online on our Facebook page. So I hope to hear from you soon. Thank you. Bye-bye.